What's going on, guys, and welcome to October's episode of Game of the Month, the show where we pick a game at random every month, and at the end of the month, we talk about it. This month, you guys picked the game, which was Ready or Not. We will be discussing that today, but my name's Seth. Joining me today is Chevy. Chevy, we just filmed yesterday. How you doing since then? You doing good?
Doing pretty good. I'm a little tired right now all of a sudden. I think
Dude, I'm
just because I ate, though.
So fucking tired. I don't know why.
So otherwise, I feel fine.
Yeah.
But, good.
Good to hear. And we just filmed Plus Club yesterday. So if you guys want to check that out, we talked about Injustice 2. We talked about Hot Wheels Unleashed and Super Hot. So if you want to know our thoughts on that, go check out that video. It's out right now. So Game of the Month. You guys voted and you guys picked Ready or Not. And then two of your picks also became runner-ups. One of them was already on our list, so it just kind of maintained being on the list. But we're going to talk about that here in a sec. But we're going to try something new and different. If you guys hate this, let me know in the comments. I'm going to use my powers as creator of this YouTube channel, and I'm going to pick the game of the month for November. But I think it's going to be beneficial for everybody because it's going to be topical. So as you guys know, God of War Ragnarok comes out very soon. Me and you are already planning on playing it. And so I'm going to pick God of War Ragnarok as our game of the month for November. I figure the reason I want to do this is because I'm going to be playing it anyway. I'm going to try and beat it quickly because I don't want anything spoiled for me. I know a lot of you guys are going to be playing it. And I feel like it'd be kind of cool to actually do a review of a game that's going to be big this year, potentially game of the year. I think it'd be fun at the end of the month of November to discuss God of War Ragnarok. And we'll do like unless one of us don't beat it, we'll do like a quick review without spoilers and then maybe discuss spoilers after the fact and let you guys know. But that's the plan. I've picked God of War Ragnarok as game of the month. We can't play it yet because it's not out yet, but it comes out on the 9th, I believe. So that's the plan. So no random pick, but it should be cool. It should be cool. I'm excited to play it. I know you guys are, and I can't wait to review it. What do you think about playing God of War Ragnarok?
I was going to do it anyways.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. So, and for me, I'm like, I got to focus on beating it. So like, sadly, one less game I'm obligated to play will be helpful towards that. Because we also have to play Neo 2, Lego Harry Potter Collection, and Heavenly Bodies, which is our PlayStation Plus games for November. So should be easy enough. But
those should be coming out tomorrow, huh?
Yeah. That's perfect timing on the 1st.
Gonna have to knock at least two of those out as soon as I can. Neil's going to take a little more time, but
yeah, but at least you played it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the plan. So hopefully you guys get an opportunity to play God of War Ragnarok, and hopefully you guys are ready to talk about that at the end of November. All right, so the game we played in October was Ready or Not. You guys voted for it. It's the one that won. And if you didn't get a chance to play Ready or Not, it is a first-person tactical shooter that's pretty much you're a SWAT team, and you go on various missions. It's up to 4-player cooperative. And yeah, you pick locations. At those locations, you can pick different types of scenarios that are happening, from hostage situations to bomb situations, to active shooter situations, some pretty intense situations. You're able to create loadouts for your character. There is no unlocks. Everything's just there as soon as you start the game. And there's like shotguns, assault rifles, SMGs, non-lethal weapons like beanbag guns, pepper spray, stuff like that, because this game actually punishes you for using force on people that do not deserve it. So you have to think about the scenarios as they're happening in real time, and sometimes people will pull a weapon on you in very quick ways. So you got to react fast. Maps vary from like a house full of like drug addicts to a gas station to a nightclub that's been shot up. So there's a lot of different scenarios going on there. And I don't know if there's really anything else to add to it. It's got a couple of mechanics where you can like tell people to put their gun down, hands on their head, stuff like that. You can arrest people. It has an emphasis on calling in everything that happens. So if you find somebody who's been shot, you got to call that in. If you arrest somebody, you got to call that in. If you've shot a suspect, you got to call that in. If somebody on your team goes down, you got to call that in. And it accrues points throughout the whole match. And then at the end gives you a grade based off of how well you did. And you're obviously trying to get like that A. But a lot of times you're probably going to get that C or D because it's a pretty rough game. We both played it. And I am dying to know your opinion on this because I've actually played this in the past quite a bit. This is your first time playing it. And so I think it'd be interesting to hear what you thought of it in October.
So I guess my first impression was like getting into the game and like the like lobby area where you choose your loadout and your equipment and all that stuff. That was neat that you were actually in like a space, and I was a little worried at first because it looked pretty big, and there is like you were kind of showing me the locker room at first to load, and I was like, well, if this is the only place to load this up, and there's stuff other places, there's a lot of running back and forth. I don't know if I'm gonna like that, but turns out there were multiple places to do your loadout, and I was like, okay, that's good. Because that would get frustrating after a while. So they thought of that, which was good.
Yeah, there's an upstairs to the police precinct that is where you initiate the missions, and also you're able to do loadouts. But downstairs actually has like a gun range right next to a place where you can also mess with your loadout, and then also has like a test area where you can practice like blowing doors open using like battering rams. And,
the obstacle course.
Yeah, the obstacle course. So yeah, it's it does seem like, oh God, where do I go? But it all kind of makes sense once you get the hang of it.
Yeah, and then obviously I didn't really know what I was like looking for or trying to get into playing it. So going down and going down to the firing range was super beneficial because I actually got to try everything out. I found it real quick that I personally didn't like most of the scopes in the game, but I did find one I did like. It's not that necessarily the scopes are bad. They just didn't feel very good to me when I was shooting.
Yeah, I'm pretty particular about them too in that game. Some of them I just don't want to touch.
Yeah, when I was shooting at the paper, the shooting range targets that have like the silhouette of the person that is also like a bullseye. I tried out every scope for the gun I was using. I think I kind of stuck with like the typical like M4 style gun, but yeah, a lot of the scopes I was like, yeah, that feels okay, I guess. That feels okay. And then finally I did find one. I was like, okay, that works for me. Controls took, obviously a little bit to get used to because it's a tactical game, so you have a little more control over your character. And then after communicating with you guys, loadouts, because there are tools in this game like door mirrors and like breaching stuff, smoke grenades, all that kind of stuff.
Door stops.
Yeah, and so trying to figure out like what I could bring that you guys weren't bringing, and I just kind of like at a whim picked the lockpick tool or whatever. I think everyone can pick locks. You said it just makes it like way faster.
It's a lockpick gun. Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually used it a lot, so I'm glad it actually ended up working out because I was able to just go up and do it real quick, and then you guys could bust in and go. Yeah, so that all, figured out. I got, figured out the guns I liked, the pistol, all the attachments and stuff. There's a pretty decent amount of choices. I do feel like there could be more, but I don't think this game is done being developed technically. No. So I'm going to be a little kind on that. So what they did had worked great. Minus obviously my preference for scopes with their game. Started the first mission, was a gas station with a hostage situation, I think.
I think that was just a barricaded suspect. So it's just like a situation where you don't know how many people are going to be in there, but there's like civilian stuff running around.
Right. Yeah. And then upon like getting my first chance to go up to the door and put a camera under it, I saw long enough someone's feet, and then the door opened and I died.
Yeah, I didn't even get to see what happened to you. I just saw a guy running out the door through the window, and when I turned, I heard a gunshot, and you were just on the ground. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, so that was an interesting first mission.
Got thrown to the deep end.
Yeah, and it's a tactical game, so I think whatever. I wasn't like upset. It's just more funny than anything.
Yeah, no, it was pretty funny because I was like, of course you're the one, and it wasn't even like you did something wrong. That guy just came out the front door and shot you.
Yeah,
It's
no
like,
hesitation. He just like was psychic and knew it was time to
yeah,
shoot
dude,
me.
he knew somebody was outside.
So I think we ended up reloading because
Yeah.
you were just like, yeah, we can't. Start
Yeah,
that
I was
way.
like, it's your first match. We're not gonna like have you watch us play the rest of this.
Yeah, so went in and actually got to like experience going through it and doing the coast controls and being able to like yell at people, whether they're a pedestrian, you're trying to get them out of the way, or you're trying to get someone to drop their weapon or whatever. And it plays well actually. So I was pretty happy with the way it played. I felt at home being able to aim with a mouse, which was great. So when I did have to shoot, I didn't feel like I was just shooting all over the place.
Yeah, it is funny that a lot of times we play shooters for the channel. It's always on console. So yeah.
So I did get to play a little more in my comfort zone in that regard, and I didn't feel like I was being a hindrance at that point. It was kind of nice to be able to play game 2 where like the pacing was more like my style. I don't mind arena shooters and stuff like that, but they kind of like wear on me real quick versus like the more slow paced nature of this, and like actually having to like plan stuff is it's gonna be a weird example, but it's similar to like raiding in an MMO.
Yeah.
And I like that.
There is quite a bit of opportunity for coordination in this game.
Yeah.
Even situations where we would just be in a hallway and we're coordinating how we're going to go down the hallway. Like that's how treacherous this game can be. Is if you just run down the hallway and someone sees you and just shoots you, you don't know who's down there. So like we'd have Josh up front with like the shield. I'd be doing Overwatch with him. You'd be watching the rear and
And
stuff.
I'd usually be walking backwards towards you guys. So.
And like we would just inch down the hallway trying to, get as much intel on that as possible, which is just not an experience you get in most shooters, let alone cooperative shooters nowadays.
Yeah, which was enjoyable. And I also like the dynamic of there are, just normal people running around, but also that can be deceiving as well because like sometimes they're also aggressive and you just don't see a weapon because they haven't drawn it yet, or people who are armed initially, they may not necessarily want to actually harm you, so they might see you and freak out and like drop their weapon type of deal, and if you shoot them you lose points because they technically weren't hostile,
They weren't aggressing, yeah.
so a lot to think about when you're playing. And I like that.
Unless you're Josh. And you see somebody with a gun and you shoot
Just
the next
shoots,
three
yeah.
people.
But I like that just because it makes every mission different too, because the placement is always different where the people are at. Their AI, runs differently every time, etc. So even if you play the gas station or the nightclub or whatever over and over again, it's going to be different every time. So that's a good thing. The maps seemed pretty cool. It was very stressful doing, I think it was the hotel.
Yeah, me and Josh have never finished that.
Holy crap.
You guys
there's
didn't either.
So much space in there. And here's a good example of communication being important. And I'm not trying to throw Josh under the bus. We just didn't communicate well. He was in a room and I had no idea because I have terrible sense of direction, as I've said a million times on this channel. And I was looking at an emergency exit thinking he was in that room and he'd gone around the other way. And I saw movement through the little, the skinny windows they have on those doors. I was like, is that you? He's like, yeah. And I opened the door and the dude shot me. I was like, I don't think that was you.
Yeah, Josh can be like that sometimes.
So that's how fast things can kind of just go down in that game.
That same round before that happened to you, and I've played this quite a bit. I know what to expect, but me and Josh were like, or no, it was me and you.
Yeah.
And everything seemed fine. So I opened a door and I walked through the door. And as soon as I walked through, I heard a... And all of a sudden, my whole screen just went boom, and I was just dead instantly.
Yeah, and I was right next to you, so all I saw was the explosion and the loud noise. I was like, what the fuck just
and
happened?
And it was so quick that me and you didn't even know what just happened when it happened. I was like, I died? What happened? And then after a second, I was like, oh, shit, there's a door bomb.
Booby trap, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, so overall, I have pretty positive thoughts on it. There are also very game modes, like, just the people being held up, or there'll be people like executing people when you gotta try to save people before they die. There'll be hiding drugs, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of scenarios too. My complaint is the game feels kind of shallow. in its offerings outside of just the gameplay loop. And I don't necessarily need like weapon unlocks and stuff, but I do think maybe skins or like some sort of system to earn things,
Something to work towards. Yeah.
would be helpful in like longevity of the game. Because like I could probably sit down and play it. If hey, we're playing this game, and I was in the mood to play a shooter, it'd be fine. But I don't really have like a desire to like play it. So of my own accord outside of that. So.
Yeah, I play it and I haven't even talked about my impressions of it, but like when I play it, I enjoy it. But like the drive to go play it, unless everybody wants to play it, is hard for me because there is nothing you are unlocking. You got to play it purely for the game, and like of course that should be the highest priority. But we're spoiled in modern gaming, where like you invest time in something, you get something from it, you earn shit, and it's kind of sad we don't play games just for the gameplay. But I do agree that it needs some kind of progression. I even said when we were playing that like soft perks, I don't want this game to be like unrealistic. I like that it's a realistic shooter. But like soft perks, like maybe you can have like enhanced hearing, so you can hear a little better from room to room. Maybe increase your skills or your reload a little faster, stuff like that. Like really shallow, basic perks, but just something that gives you a little bit of an edge in certain things, or ways to specialize in like, oh, I'm like the bomb defusal dude. Yeah. Oh, I'm like the sniper guy. Like, I think that'd be kind of cool. Skins would be easy to do as long as they don't do like crazy colorful stuff like Call of Duty, where like everyone's just like neon colors and stuff.
I do think skins would get complicated. Maybe characters instead.
Yeah, they could do that too.
Or my other thought was, which would be less intrusive to the gameplay experience, is maybe like nameplates and customize like frames and backgrounds and fonts.
Even reticles, putting it inside of your scope.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of stuff they could do, and I hope they do that, because I think it's it's one of like two things I think they should implement.
Yeah. Yeah, but otherwise, I think they're a good idea, and they're still making it. So, I mean, who knows what the future has for it. But in its current state, I had fun with it.
It's cool. It's cool to hear. I was curious about what you would think of it, because it seems like a game that'd be more your speed, and that it's not slow paced, and like, because it's way more hardcore than a fast paced shooter. You get shot once, you die, but.
Yeah, but it's not running gun.
But there's a tension to this game that a lot of shooters don't have anymore. That I jokingly have called this game like almost a horror game to me, because like my not anxiety, but like the tension for me goes up as I play this kind of game. Whereas like I play a game like Call of Duty, I'm only mentioning Call of Duty so much because I'm playing it currently. But I'm just like run around shooting stuff, and I die and respawn real quick, and I run around, shoot stuff, and die and respawn. There's no like tension there really, unless I'm like the last guy alive and like search and destroy. But like in a game like this, you're dead and you're done in that round. It's complete failure for you. So like, and someone can take you out so quickly that like just the slow methodical movements and communicating, and one mistake can cost everything. It can be scary once all of a sudden someone opens fire. So. But yeah, the pacing is completely different, and because there's time sometimes to strategize, I figured that'd be a little more interesting for you.
Yeah, I definitely prefer it. I don't play a lot of shooters anyways, because most of them are designed around being competitive, and it's just not really my thing. This is definitely a co-op game.
Yeah,
that just is going to be more at home for me anyways. So.
Yeah. What do you think about the apprehension system? That they even have something like that?
I think it's neat. I think it's easy to forget about it in the heat of the moment, but I did kind of just get in the habit, especially like after that bomb blew you up in that hotel scenario, for example. Josh would take point, and then he would like take care of someone, and I don't know if he was just forgetting about it because he was also just kind of in the moment type of deal, but he would forget to report him. Mm-hmm. The handcuffing would get done, but he wouldn't get reported. So I'd be like, report as I was following.
I've done that with Josh too.
So
not trying to throw Josh under the bus. He plays just fine. He just is forgetful sometimes.
I'll say he'll go in and kill everyone. Like, I got no complaints.
Everyone. He'll kill everyone. I have a video.
So, but yeah, I think it's a neat system. I like more so that I think it'd be kind of gimmicky if there wasn't the chance of like a normal person being hostile or a hostile person like giving up. If those variables weren't there, I think it would just be kind of gimmicky. But.
And that's one thing I want them to like put most of their work into now is dynamic stuff. They added at one point between the first time I played this and now where people can pull a knife. And it seems simple and it doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it throws you off. You got to be ready for it. Because like one time I was playing when you weren't playing with us and we threw a flashbang in the room. And Josh is like, oh, there's a guy to the right as I'm looking at this dude who's dazed walking at me. And he dropped his gun. He's just walking at me. I'm telling him to put his gun down. He's like kind of getting down for a second. And then Josh is like, oh, there's a guy to the right. And I like look over and Josh is just looking at this dude. And I'm just like, okay. And I look back at the guy that I was about to apprehend. And he like is running at me. He starts stabbing me and I had to shoot him. And that made me go like, whoa, okay, you got to keep your eyes on people because sometimes they might do something like that.
Yeah, and obviously that lesson you guys had already learned because I know when like the three of us were playing, there were a lot of like moments where like either you or Josh would like go forward a little bit and watch an exit or entrance, and then the other one would just be pointing their gun at the person, and then I'd come up and cuff them basically. So
yeah, if somebody's not cuffed up, I'm typically like trying not to take my eyes off them because I learned in that moment. And it's cool too because I had like a pretty heavy. There's 3 different tactical vests you can wear of different like protection levels. One's just a knife vest; it protects you against like light penetration, up to one that protects against more. And then you can pick to put steel, Kevlar, or something else, ceramic plating inside. So you can really kind of detail how much protection you want to have, and how many pockets you have, and how slow or fast you'll move wearing this stuff. But when I got stabbed by that dude, he actually didn't, after it happened, he didn't do any damage to me. But my guy was still like, my vision was kind of bouncing around or whatever because I was getting hit, and my vision was kind of getting blurry. So if somebody was in the room with a gun, that situation could have got me killed. Yeah. So it's kind of neat that they even have a scenario like that because, like, what games do?
For sure.
Like none. So, yeah. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. So I'm a fan of this game. I'm the reason it got put on the list. I've played it in the past, played it this month, had fun with it. A couple things I want to throw out there. I love that it's a tactical shooter. I'm a big fan of those. I think the game looks good graphically. It's a clean looking game. It's not the best looking game ever, but like dark rooms are dark, lighting's good, the graphics are smooth and clean looking. So yeah, it's a pleasant game to look at. It's going for a more realistic look, so there's a lot of tension in the environments, especially in the varied locations, which I also enjoy. They allow you to play test maps as well, which I kind of like because you don't have to if you don't want to see like,
lack of textures.
Yeah, if you don't want to like peek behind the curtain of development, you don't have to. But they do give you a peek at it, and you can play these maps.
It's also all free beta testing.
True, but you don't have to interact with it. So.
No, for sure.
But yeah, you already have all these different locations. They got ones they're working on. One of the ones we played was, I think it's going to be like a Burger King or a McDonald's or something. It's a fast food place. For sure, yeah. But there's like no textures, even though in the back where obviously the kitchen's going to be, there was like fully rendered pickles just on this like no textured counter. Yeah. I'm like, why would you even put this here when you haven't even textured the building yet? But whatever, it's their game. So I think that's cool. But yeah, the locations are cool as well. They're super varied, and I hope they add more. They are, obviously, but I hope they keep adding more locations because that variety is going to keep people playing. Gun selection is actually really good. I almost feel like they should stop putting guns in the game and work on other things because there's actually quite a bit of guns in the game. They could definitely add more, but there's a lot already. I've gone through plenty of them. There's guns I've never used before. Attachments are decent, but there could be more for sure. There's like 5 scopes.
And like 3 of them feel like they're the same thing.
Yeah. There's like a flashlight, a couple laser types. One's an IR laser, one's a normal laser.
The flashlight was handy.
The flashlight is handy. I always have one on at least one of my guns.
Yeah, I had it on my pistol.
Silencers, recoil suppressor type things. They could add more attachments for sure, but I think it's a good amount. And guns, like I said, are fine. Maybe add more non-lethals.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of guns in the game.
Tasers.
Tasers. There is pepper spray. There is pepper balls, beanbag guns. But yeah, there should be more types of, whether it's like a hand taser or like an air taser. Air taser would be kind of cool and remind me of like SWAT 4 from back in the day. Because there's a mission where I would, when I was younger, would always shoot an old lady with the air taser. But that's a different me. That's the old me. I would still do it. I'm a curious boy. Yeah, so gun variety's good. You can actually pick your character the way they look, which is interesting.
They could expand that too.
They could expand that more. And that could be something that could be turned into progression. So I wouldn't mind either way, how they want to do that. I do think, like we already went over, it needs some kind of unlock system, something.
I'll unlock mustaches and beards and stuff. That's fine.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's see. Up to 4-player co-op works great. Really easy. You just invite people in, and then like you pick a mission. Then when you all stand in one spot, it just readies it up so people can be doing their own thing while you're getting that set up. And yeah, missions are cool. I've played a lot of them. I've played a lot of scenarios. And they're varied. I would like to see them put less work into adding guns and more work into how to make these maps and scenarios more replayable. Make more scenarios. This isn't even like a knockout. It's just something I want to see from the game. I want more scenarios than they already have, and they have a good amount already, but more would be better. More random situations that can happen in each scenario, and more dynamic things that the AI can do. Because the AI already does a lot of dynamic things, but I feel like they could do more things to always make every mission feel completely different, especially in both like innocent people and criminal behaviors, to make things always different feeling. That's something I would really like to see them put work into. I think it'd be worth it.
Dogs would be good too.
Dogs, just different things would be interesting. It would be interesting to enter a scenario where a dog is involved, see what happens there.
Or even as a utility item for you.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting too.
So.
That would be interesting. Yeah, guns feel good. I really like the TTK in the game because you just die. Yeah. But shooting feels super satisfying. So does apprehending somebody without shooting them. That's something that most games don't offer, and it is a really good feeling when you're able to get somebody to cooperate and you can arrest them. Because once they're handcuffed, sometimes they'll walk around on their knees, but I haven't seen them get out of handcuffs. I don't think it's a thing that they do. Maybe they could add something like that later, where somebody can maybe get them out. Because you use zip ties, you don't use handcuffs.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting. But yeah, I really want more dynamic stuff happening in these missions. But other than that, it still feels pretty fresh every time you play a mission. I mean, we played a couple places multiple times, then a bunch of different places, and it always felt different. And then one thing this game has that you probably didn't experience, if you play it by yourself, you actually get a team of 4 with you. So you have a red team and a blue team, and each team has 2 people. And you're able to tell them what to do, either by saying gold team, which is all 4 of them, or blue team and red team. So you can separate them. You can have blue team, stack up on a door. You can have red team breach this door. You can have all these orders going at the same time. And that kind of takes me back to the old days of like Rainbow Six, which is one of the reasons why I like this game so much. Is it takes me back to a time where people were experimenting with like breach and clearing and having NPCs that actually followed directions like this. For some reason, people have just like forgotten about having NPC teammates that actually will coordinate strategy with you, which I really miss. Rainbow Six Vegas and Vegas 2 had that. I mean, and a lot of people love those games. I love those games. So this has that, which is cool. You don't have to play with people, but it is rewarding to play with people as well, because obviously it's nice to just tell NPCs what to do for you and they do it, but it's also nice to play with a well-oiled machine that is your friends when you get things down and you're breaching clearing effectively. Yeah, so that's a nice touch. And for an indie game that they even added AI for your NPCs to work with you like that.
Doing more than AAA companies.
Yeah, 100%. So this game's actually impressive in a lot of ways. It's like definitely being taken serious by who's making it, but I feel like it's still being worked on. So there's only room to improve. But yeah, playing with friends is a lot of fun. Super stressful, but a lot of fun to be had. And playing by yourself is fun. And yeah, I don't really know what else to add. Music's scary in this game. Like, it's got a really creepy tone. Even when you're in the police precinct, there's like candles lit around the place, and it's like everyone looks tired and like worn out. I'm like, what's happening to the city? It's like under siege. Like, everyone's just standing around like something bad's happening outside of the police station. But then when you go on these missions, it just has like this eerie music playing, and I'm like, dude, I think that's why it makes it so tense. It's like the music's just like ominous.
I didn't hear the music because I wasn't using headphones for audio. So,
well, a lot of times it's just quiet, but when music does start kind of building wherever, you're like, oh shit. I think music plays too when like gunfire starts up, but I don't remember. It's been a little bit. But yeah, overall, I'm a big fan of this game. I can't wait to see what they do with it in the future. And yeah, I really like playing it. I just think it has places to improve, especially in that I have to play it factor. I don't think it has it. I think if you're curious about it, or you play it because you're a co-host on a YouTube channel and you're obligated to play it, you'll probably enjoy yourself. But when I'm playing something else and I'm leveling up and getting gear and all that shit, it's hard to think about a game like this, which is just kind of a sad state of affairs for modern gaming. But we already talked about that. So yeah, overall, I had fun playing with you and Josh. I wanted to play with Sarah as well, but she was feeling under the weather when we got together to play. So we didn't get to do some 4-player co-op, but that would have been fun, and maybe we can still do it. But I think that's everything I have to say about my impressions.
Okay.
Anything else you want to add to it?
No, the only thing I was going to say earlier when we were talking about like hypothetical things they could add, I was thinking too that maybe you could be also zip tied.
That'd be interesting.
And then held hostage. So.
That would be really interesting. So, okay, so the two things, and I'm glad we're talking about this because I completely forgot I wanted to talk about this. Number one thing they should change, my only criticism of this game, the same button to do everything is also your call out button to tell people to drop their weapon. And in a game where you need to be quiet sometimes, and you go to look at the door and you go to do something and you looked away for a millisecond and all of a sudden you're yelling and now everybody's alerted, it should be a separate button. I think one button should be your action button, one button should be your like command button. And then secondly, something I'd like to see is, it doesn't have to be super complicated because I know the scripting would be really annoying, but it'd be cool if there's more dynamic ways to demand things. So in a hostage situation, you can try different approaches to see if you can get different results. That'd be kind of neat. So like they already have a system where you hold down a button and then you have, I don't remember if it's a radial menu or not, but you're able to say different things. It'd be cool if the button, you could just press it to yell at them, but then if you hold it, you could be like, drop your weapon, give up,
right?
Blah, blah, say all this shit.
Sorry.
And have different dynamic situations like that. If they could do that, that'd be huge. Because like I haven't seen a game really do that. So, yeah,
that'd be interesting.
I just want to see them do more with the interactions you have in these maps. Whether it's the AI's dynamics, work on the AI more, but also ways you interact with it. I think it'd be really fucking cool. Yeah. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, let's jump into recommendations. I'll go first. If you like tactical shooters in general, more specifically, like co-op ones, I would recommend it to you. If you're into any kind of game where the chance of getting blown away easily is there, you'll probably dig this because it has that vibe to it. If you like SWAT type games, which there's not, I mean, I guess on PC there's some options out there, but there's not a whole lot anymore. I think this is probably one of the best ones out there right now in modern times, and it harkens back to an era of these kind of games pretty authentically. So if you're looking for that, you're missing that, you want something like that, I would definitely recommend Ready or Not. If you like team tactics, if you like working, I mean, you talked about doing a raid. It's obviously not the same, but it even came up in your head.
It's the same kind of coordination.
Yeah. So if you like team tactics and working with people and communicating things, you might dig this. I mean, like you said, you're not even like a big shooter guy, and you were enjoying that factor of the game.
Yeah, I always hate saying that because I like playing shooters. It's just most shooters aren't catered towards my preferences. So.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's definitely been ones you've played. So, I'm not sure what else. Is there anything you would recommend? It's a pretty niche shooter.
I mean, if you like the idea of playing something that involves a level of critical thinking that you're not going to get out of, like, for example, like a Call of Duty. I'm not saying you don't necessarily think during Call of Duty, but you can definitely play that pretty brain dead.
Oh, I mean, I can definitely also turn my brain on playing that, especially if I'm playing a specific kind of mode.
Yeah.
But I also can just muscle memory that game.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with having those type of games. Like sometimes you get off work and all you want to do is play a video game, you know?
True.
But I also appreciate a game that makes me have to actually like try. And so I do think this is a game like that. I don't think you can just like, unless you're just that cracked, you're not just walking through. So.
Yeah. Other than that, I can't.
It's a very specific game.
Yeah.
Like if you are looking for a run and gun, this is not going to be the game for you. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sure. If you want like a SWAT style tactical shooter, that's what this is. So, and
that is playable single player or co-op.
Yep.
Because it has the boss.
Yeah. Also, if you miss games where you have NPCs that you can tell them to stack up on doors, breach and clear, flash and clear, stuff like that, you haven't played a game like that in a while, this has that. So that's a pretty, if you're somebody like me, that's a pretty heavy recommendation because I miss games like that. So I'm sure plenty of people do. Other than that, though, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
So I know you went first on impressions, but I also want you to grade it first because this is your first time playing it, and I don't really want to. I don't think I would sway your opinion, but I just kind of want to know yours first before I say mine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident we've given it a B+. I feel like, you know, it's still in development, obviously, with test maps and stuff like that, and there are features I think it kind of needs for long-term success, but it is a solid foundation. And yeah, I'd be curious to see, you know, in 6-12 months even, like what kind of changes they've made to it. And as long as they don't, you know, drastically deviate from the direction it's in right now and just expand upon it, I feel like it could creep up higher. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna pretty much mimic what you just said because I thought the same thing. I think this game has a very solid foundation. It's a great starting point that can only be built upon, and if they do it correctly, the game will only get better. I'm also gonna give it a strong B+. I can't go A because it just has things that needs improved upon, but it's for the games that are out there right now like this. I think it is the best that I've played. I've heard Ground Branch is good, but I haven't played that. But it has a lot of features that other games don't offer. It's got a lot of really cool stuff to it. It works multiplayer wise. There's no fucking weird stuff that happens. And so they've just kind of nailed what they set out to do, and they're still working on it, still building it. So it can only get better from here, or they could ruin it. But it's a really good start, and I really like it. So yeah, I'd also give it a B+. So it's cool to hear you thought the same. All right, anything else?
Nope.
Let us know in the comments. Have you played Ready or Not? If you have, what do you think of it? If you haven't, why haven't you played it? Maybe you're not on PC. I don't know if this is coming to console or not, but I feel like it should once they finish it. Hopefully they can get that to happen. What do you think of games like this? Are you a tactical shooter fan? Do you like SWAT style games? Do you miss games that you know has like the breach and clear mechanics with NPCs? Any games in the past that you were a fan of when it comes to that kind of game? And yeah, if you've played Ready or Not, what's your favorite kind of scenario to play? What's your loadout that you typically go with? And do you use non-lethal? We tried to do that, but it just always seems harder to do that. So it's easier to just bring a gun. But yeah, let me know everything you think about in the comments below when it comes to Ready or Not. But that's going to do it for this episode of Game of the Month. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on our streams and socials, links down below. Check Check out our Discord, link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us in audio form. I have a TikTok. Check that out. It's linked down below as well. Check out my shorts, and hopefully I can get shorts going on YouTube sometime soon. And we have a Patreon if you'd like to support this channel. More than liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing if you're brand new. I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. Thank you for joining me, Chevy. Thank you for joining me, you guys. Until next episode, which will hopefully be a tasty cast. Have a good one, guys, and take it easy.